Hi guys, welcome back to LM Crochet. In this video I'm going to show you how to make this daisy. So what you need for this project is your yarn, and of course because it's a daisy I will be using yellow and white yarn, and in this case I'm going to be using cotton yarn, and both of these are Rico design originally. So you also need your crochet hook. I'm going to be using a 3mm. I always like to use a small size when I'm doing amigurumi. As you can see, the yarn is actually quite thick, so it calls for a bigger yarn hook size, probably a 4mm. But the smaller the hook you use, the neater the stitches I tend to find. Obviously that can go the other way, so be careful. We also need a yarn needle for sewing in ends when we finish the daisy. So let's get started. We're going to begin in the centre with the yellow yarn, so have that ready to go. And we're going to begin with a magic ring. Of course, if you are a complete beginner, I have a video that will teach you this in much more detail, and I'll put a link to that in the description box below. Otherwise, let's just go ahead and I'll show you relatively slowly now. Anyway, so you're going to take your forefinger like this, and you're going to wrap the yarn around to create an X across your forefinger. You are then going to pick up with your fingers this piece of yarn here and just pull it over to that side, and then just hold it down with your thumb. Then you pull up this piece here into a loop and let go of the other piece, and then just put your hook into there, okay? Pull it tight. Oh, you don't want to cross it over. Pull this end tight, yarn over, and create a chain stitch. Then take your finger out and you have your magic ring. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put 6 stitches into that magic ring. So 6 single crochet, US terminology, double crochet, UK. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and then what you do is you pull on this tail here from the magic ring. You just pull on that and it closes up the circle nicely. Okay, so what we're going to do on the next round is we're going to do an increase every other stitch. Okay, so, and in the other stitch we're just going to do single crochet on its own. So the first stitch is always difficult to get into, so use your finger to help if you need to. And then you're just going to do 2 single crochet into that first stitch. We're still using the yellow coloured yarn. So that's an increase in the first stitch. In the next stitch we're just going to do 1 single crochet on its own. So that gives a stitch count of 3. And that means stitches 4 and 5 are going together in the next stitch. Stitch 6 is going to go on its own into the next one. 7 and 8 together in the next stitch, and 9 on its own in the final stitch. But I'm going to leave that stitch half done like that, and then I'm going to grab my white yarn. Just a side note, at this point it's quite good to pull the tail of the magic ring just to ensure the opening stays closed. So anyway, we've got the half of it's done on a hook. I'm just going to grab my white yarn now, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it between these 2 fingers at the back here, and then I'm going to wrap it around my hand here as if it were my working yarn. It's going to become my working yarn. And I'm also going to hold in my 2 fingers back here the yellow yarn. That's just to keep it tight. And what I'm going to do to finish this single crochet is I'm going to finish it in the white yarn, so I'm going to pull it through those 2 loops. Okay, and that's the way that I always do a colour change. I have tried other ways in the past, but that's just the way that seems to work the best for me. If you have a way that you prefer to colour change, then go ahead and do that now. So we should be using our white yarn now. So what you need to do, I'm still holding tight at the back until I've made another stitch just to hold it secure. So what you need to do is do a treble crochet, and I have a tutorial that will go into a lot more detail on this one as well if you are a complete beginner. So feel free to pause this video and go ahead and load that one up now. Again, there'll be a link to that one for you. So anyway, so treble crochet is, if you just need a refresher, is to wrap the yarn around your hook, not once, but twice, okay? And then you're going to go into the next stitch here, and you're going to pull through some yarn, and you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Can you see that one's gone really long? All I need to do is just pull that white tail at the back. And that should be relatively secure now. It'll be obviously more secure as we go along. So now you're going to do another 2 trebles in that same stitch. Okay, so yarn over twice, then pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. And we're going to do, just pull my yellow tight as well. Everything's nice and tight. Okay, then we're going to round around the hook twice into the same stitch, pull through 2, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Okay, so that's our first petal. To kind of secure that, we are going to slip stitch into the next stitch, and what that does is it creates a really nice rounded petal shape on the 3 trebles that we just did. Do you see that? And as you go around, they become more and more defined. So we're going to do another 3 treble into the next stitch. So yarn over twice into the next stitch, not the one we just did the slip stitch into, but the one after, and complete 3 more treble crochets. Just put up some more yarn. And into the same stitch, and once you have got 3 treble crochets again in the same stitch, you're going into the next stitch and you're slip stitching. So you might have noticed the pattern by now, which is 3 treble crochet in 1 stitch, next stitch slip stitch, following stitch 3 treble, following stitch 1 slip stitch. If you've got it, go ahead and finish that up now, and I will show you how to complete it at the end. If not, I will stay on the screen to complete the rest of the flower if you need some visual reminders. So 3 treble crochet into the same stitch, followed by a slip stitch into the following, and 3 treble into the next, and a slip stitch into the next, and last petal. So you want 5. With flowers it's always nicer to have an odd number. Well, with a lot of things actually it's nicer to have an odd number, isn't it? Somehow more pleasing to the eye. And once you've done your final treble crochet there, all you need to do is slip stitch back into that first stitch that where we did the colour change right at the beginning. So just another slip stitch This time, however, you will need to pull on it like that. Grab your scissors, always good to have scissors nearby when you are crocheting, and just snip off, not a long tail because we're just going to sew it in, so it's doesn't have any other purpose. And also while you're here, you can snip off your yellow tail. So pull that through, and there's your daisy. So just to finish it off, we need to sew in those ends. If you are sewing this flower to something else like a hat or a bag or even a summer wreath or something like that, then you would probably leave your tails because you can use them to sew the flower in. Otherwise, if you just wanted to make a kind of one-off flower, then you want to tidy those ends away. It's always better to sew them in, it just makes it more secure than the alternative, which is knotting off. Sometimes people use knots, I know, but it just doesn't feel as secure. So all you do is you find some stitches, preferably white ones as you're burying your white yarn, pull it through, and pull it through again, and maybe once more, just to ensure that it really is buried and it's not going to come out with playing with, and then just snip that off. And you're just going to do the same thing for all of those tail ends, and once you've done that, you will end up with a daisy just like this one that we have here. Can't see any of the ends, they've all been sewn in, and that's that. So I hope you've enjoyed this really quick and fun crochet project today. Please like, share, subscribe, find me on Instagram at LMLMcrochet and use the hashtag as well, LMLMcrochet. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope to see you again soon. Bye!